Great. We didn't hear a minute. Well, that was great. You got a minute and a half of absolutely fucking nothing. Wasn't that good?
It was spectacular. No. We were practicing.
We were practicing.
That was a dry run.
Okay. Well, I'm certainly dry now.
Now we've got the lube and we're ready to go.
Hello and good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of Ishi's Great Big Alien Show. The show where I take off the human suit, crawl out, and you get to see the magnificent all 4 foot tall. Okay, well, I'll be honest. I'm actually not 4 feet tall. I mean, I'm 3'10". I mean, 3'10's still tall for a gray, but
No, you're 3'10 and a half. You cannot discount the half.
as if it matters. So you get
It
all
does
3 foot
matter.
10 and a half.
You ever wore the difference between 4 and 4.5 inch heels? Oh my God.
And I stopped pretending to be a skeptic. I stopped pretending not to believe in any of this paranormal shit. And I speak the truth. And the truth, my friends, is not out there. It's on the air tonight on Ishi's Great Big Alien Show.
In your pants.
In my pants. With me, as always, is my luscious, curvaceous, and ever bountiful chested wife, the night editor, Kat.
Good evening, everyone.
So, tonight we don't really have much of a topic. I was going to do parallel dimensions, but life got in the way. So we're going to answer questions.
Mhm.
Ask an alien. Now, we've got some questions from earlier episodes we're going to address first. But before we get to anything, I will state clearly and plainly that YouTube is ran by the reptoids, and they hate me. And they don't want the truth to be out there or in here or anywhere at all. And they especially don't want it on YouTube. That's right. They're tanking our ratings. They're shadow banning us. They're treating us like utter garbage. So, I have to say it. Hit the stupid thumbs up button. Share.
That's not stupid.
Tell everyone right now we're on the air on your social media so that we can bypass YouTube's crap.
Also, make sure you set your subscribe notifications to notify you of everything. Apparently, you have to do that manually.
And by the way, buy some of our merchandise. Links down in the chat or down in the description.
We need to figure out a whole Monty Hall commercial.
Oh, you just say it and make it really sarcastic, and they'll love it.
Our first question is from Cooper Clark. The most important question of all: alien women. Which ones go crazy for human males? For scientific reasons, obviously.
All right. Well, that's actually a very common question from humans. I mean, if there's one thing I've learned about humans is that they are very interested in the junk of others that are different. They're always being, what Americans are being shamed for going for Asian women or black women. No. It's called diversity. And of course, you're going to want to bang a gray or bang it. Well, you want to know.
Well, think about the Irish. I mean, they'll sleep with anybody.
So, what kind of alien women do go for human men? Well, it all depends. I mean, tall whites generally are pretty freaky if they're female. The males, they're more like Mr. Spock. But
Mr. Spock was hot.
Okay. But the tall whites, their women tend to be a bit freaky in the bedroom. If they like your genes, they have a habit of breaking into your house at night and having their way with you. They're even into double teaming someone. And if they really like you, they'll abduct you in one of their own ships, have their way with you, and then just dump you off where they found you.
Yeah, but I really wouldn't want to be like that poor guy that wound up with radiation burns on his nads.
Yeah, well, that is a downfall, is that sometimes a tall white can be somewhat radioactive and give you radioactive VD. It heals though.
Well,
and it might give you special penis powers, so there's upshots to it. It's like gamma radiation and the Hulk. It's mutations.
You'll make it bigger.
And green.
And green. Oh my lord.
Swollen and green. Yeah, that's what happens.
Okay, that sounds about right.
Also it
Call
depends.
it your gherkin.
Some reptoid women have a human fetish, but I'll be up front. You better be into biting and blood drinking, or it's going to be a bad time if you want to hop into bed with a lizard.
Well, some people are into that.
So, and unfortunately, gray women are pretty frigid. They sometimes will hook up with nibs, but that's about it. There's a reason us gray aliens are interested in human women. For a lot of reasons.
Well, also, aren't your women almost indecipherable from men?
Indistinguishable? Yeah.
You knew the word I meant.
They're almost indistinguishable from the male. It's just not good. It's not good.
Next question from cesariojn. Kirk or Picard?
Kirk. Totally Kirk.
Kirk.
And Shatner over frickin' Baldy Mc social justice warrior.
But, I gotta say, it's a real hard call between Kirk and Avery Brooks.
Well, Brooks wasn't really a captain. He was a commander.
That is true. That is very true. But that's a hard call between the two of them. Aged Boomer asks, are there alien drug lords that harvest human endorphins like that in the movie I Come in Peace starring Dolph Lundgren?
That's essentially a documentary. If you made him a lizard underneath that skin, that's essentially what's going on right now. That's what was going on Epstein Island and all the other horrible stuff, is that the reptoids are here. They're an intergalactic drug cartel, and they're pretty much using the humans or your race as cattle for tapping for adrenochrome.
Not fun.
No. So this is why you've got to get these pedos under control from Hollywood and Epstein Island. You just tactical nuke if you have to. Just to be sure. It sounds harsh, but they are pedophiles.
Well, yeah, but I think a tac nuke is a little too clean for them. But that's me.
Death ray?
Yeah.
What if I death rayed all of Hollywood?
What if you did it one body part at a time? Then it'd be fine.
Okay.
John Ivantaro, did your people ever deal with racism from other alien races?
Sure. Well, again, getting back to the reptoid drug cartels, they hate us. Part of the reason they don't like us, though, is that grays were originally the ones they were using for cattle and tapping for adrenochrome. And we're still a decent source of it, but nowhere near like humans. What it was after war, centuries of war with these assholes, and they kept infiltrating our governments, and we'd think we defeated them, and then we'd turn around and we'd been infiltrated again, and next thing you know, they're sticking needles in our spines. So we had to genetically engineer ourselves to being something they could not possibly manipulate or even mimic. So yeah, the reptoid drug cartels hate our fucking guts. Regular reptoids are fine. They just think we're short and annoying. But don't get me started on the fucking Lyrians. Oh, here come the grays. Oh, look at us. We're gray. We're psychic. We're so smart. Yeah, well, do you have a tail and fuzzy cat ears? I don't know. I don't know. The humans don't seem to like us much either sometimes.
What the fuck are Lyrians?
Oh, cat people.
Lyrians are space cat people?
Yeah.
So what? Do they spread hairballs everywhere?
I don't know. They're cat people.
They're cat people.
There isn't much more to say about it.
Are they jellicle cats?
Sure, why not?
So,
and then they, of course, there's a few of the other species that are actually, what? I don't think any of us really get along all that much. Come to think of it.
You all hate each other?
We tolerate each other. The Arcturans, and the Arcturans look just like us, but they're like, oh, we got blue skin, we're better than you. Look at our fancy dresses.
So they're not. So they're actually.
Our
not,
women still have breasts. Ha ha ha. It's like, fuck you guys.
So they're actually not. These Smurf people aren't actually another like breed of your species. I thought they were.
They are, but they don't. It's the racist shit. They think they're not.
Oh, okay.
Just because they didn't make the mistake of getting rid of their female sex drive and breasts.
Oh, they're an offshoot.
Yeah, they think they're better than us.
Got it. Okay.
We're going to show them. We're splicing our people with human females. We're making fucking galactic waifus. We're showing them, fuckers.
Got the big eye thing going.
All gray hybrids have big eyes.
Well, yeah, but you're gonna have waifus with big eyes and big breasts.
Yeah, exactly.
Devil Muff Diver, Black Lives Matter. Don't you agree?
Why the fuck would you ask me that? Dude, do you want me to get canceled? I already told you I'm having a hard time not getting shadow banned, and you asked me this. Do Black Lives Matter? Well, are you talking about a specific one, or do I know them personally, or just some stranger I've never met? I don't know. That's like asking me, do I respect women? I was like, well, which ones?
La Blue Girl, are Bigfoots gay?
Again, why are you asking me these questions?
I think we've had that question before, actually.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys are just...
It.
I think you guys are just fucking with me, honestly.
Well,
how the hell would I even know if a Bigfoot's gay?
I think they're asking, are they in general? As a rule.
That's pretty gay?
Oh, we should probably bring on the Sasquatch sometime.
Yeah, you know what? We'll bring on a Sasquatch and ask him. How about that?
Yeah. No, we happen to know a Sasquatch. Why don't we bring him on, and that will answer the questions. I don't think he's gay.
Oh, the one we know isn't, no?
No. So therefore, not all Sasquatches are gay. So there we go. There's an answer.
Okay.
Ginger Arc. A lot of people don't know, but the ancient Celts invented interdimensional travel. But then we invented whiskey and forgot everything after that.
Dude, what the hell are you talking about? Whiskey is a form of interdimensional travel.
No, it's time travel.
That too. Along with absinthe.
Yes, along with absinthe. No, absinthe and interdimensional travel. All Out of Bubblegum asks, do you know how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
I don't know. 42 or something, isn't it?
No, it's 4,278.
Why do you know that?
Because I was a very bored young child.
You're shitting me.
No.
You really did this?
Yes.
How old were you?
Elementary school, second grade. Myself and another girl.
And you swapped the...
We didn't swap them, but we both did it, and we both counted how many, and we both came up with roughly the same number. It was over 4,000. For me, it was 4,278.
Did you keep a tally sheet?
No, just 1, 2, 3, 4.
How long? No, how long did this take?
About 3 hours.
3 hours straight?
Yes.
This is why this is what's wrong with parents and latchkey kids. It leaves damage. There was a lot of great things about a latchkey kid. That you learned self-sufficiency. You didn't have your parents fucking with you. You got to watch whatever you wanted on TV. But then there are things like this where you're so goddamn bored that you have to lick a Tootsie Pop and count it, or go to your piano for love.
No, this was at the Christian school. Nothing against Christian schools, but the after-school daycare was boring as fuck. And this is how we passed our time there. Because that was one of the years where for some reason they were down on the job on hiring people to watch us. So they just all said, here, everyone, here, have some candy and, go play. And we had 3.5, 4 hours to kill before our parents showed up. So we went onto the field and said, okay, well, let's see how many it is so we would know the answer anytime that commercial came up.
Okay, let's go straight to the chat now.
All right. Endless Nocturne, welcome, my fellow viewers, to the big alien show. Remember, this is a lighthearted stream. Don't waste your questions on Earth politics. Questions about making anime real are more important.
Exactly. Exactly.
Endless Nocturne understands. Hi, Owen. Owen says, question for the Gray. Have your people ever made weapons similar to the lightsaber?
Again, we're really not all that physical. We're not physically all that strong either. We primarily stick to particle weapons, quantum disintegrators, and a lot of psychotronic weapons. Essentially, that's one of the reasons the Reptoids had to develop a very strong psychic resistance. Is the fact is that they could send in hordes and hordes of their infantry, and we could just fry them in the trenches, and they'd all be brain dead. So
did your people ever develop technology like lasing the brown note?
May I? No comment. I will not confirm or deny that.
You will not confirm or deny.
Same with the orgasm note.
The victims will make it clear if that is true or not.
You know that there is a similar one, the orgasm note.
Yes, and that Rockstar, since the two notes are really close together, rock stars would put their crotches on those huge subwoofers and try to hit the orgasm note, and more often than not, they hit the brown note instead. And it was fun for everyone.
Kiss did that, right?
I think so, yeah. I also want to think Aerosmith did too. Acid Trip. Ishi, good news. The stickers came in Monday and I finally put them on my guitar. I'll send you a pic of it on either Twitter or at your email. I hope you like.
Cool, definitely.
Yeah, I totally want to see. Cooper Clark.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Went through some online college bullshit today. Do aliens have to do the same stuff? What would it be like to go to college off planet? I bet bad.
Oh, you have no idea. You think cram school looks bad in anime? Japanese cram school?
Mm-hmm.
Think of that, to the fifth power. Cram school, and then the meditation, and then the psychic training, and it doesn't also help that we're a genetic caste system. So once you've got your job, you're not going anywhere else.
Yes, but your people have a plan for you.
Well, yeah, we have from day one we kind of know what range of jobs we can possibly do. And
yeah, people who get doctorates in Beyonce are not going all anywhere.
Well, see, that's one of the reasons that we don't mind sharing our technology with you guys so much, is that frankly, you can't operate a lot of it because we just at some point we didn't go down the path that you guys did. We developed more of our technology through genetic engineering rather than kind of the hard technology, which we find very fascinating about humans. Is you've really gone far with this hard technology, silicon, microcircuitry.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically microcircuitry. I mean, we have the transistor and basic computer chips, but we actually decided, rather than trying to continually make computers better than better, we just make various grays that were genetically engineered to fill that component. So like the navigation software, it doesn't work without the gray actually sitting there and psychically linking up with it. It's like that book with the Frank Herrick, Dune, with the navigators, the guild navigators.
Yeah, but with the navigators, the issue is that only their race has the ability to fold space. It's not that they're a digital USB port.
But they can't navigate without them.
True, because they're the only ones who can do it.
Same thing with a lot of our really heavy weaponry. They're all psychotronic. They won't function without the gray sitting in it, focusing the telepathic ray or whatever, the telepathic wave.
So basically, you've engineered a caste system of cogs.
Well, no, some people. Well, there is a cast of cogs, yes, or microprocessors. Fortunately, I didn't get bred into that. I was involved with abductions and piloting.
Much better.
Oh yeah, much better. But yeah, that's one of the reasons your people are always so confused if they get one of our saucers. It's like, well, okay, where do you plug it in? It's like, if you ever see the pictures of the Roswell craft, the actual seats that the pilot sat in, it was a seat and then just flat panel with 2 places to put your hands. That's it. That were the controls. Good luck.
I am continually reminded of Asimov's iRobot, where you had the 2 scientists who are hijacked by the AI on a ship basically created by Hal after he'd gone insane.
How so?
The AI developed a sense of humor. So this ship, it was the first one to do extra dimensional travel, basically folding space. But in order to develop the technology, the AI had to technically break the first law, which was harming humans, because that space in between, when space is folded, you are technically alive and not alive. So the AI went crazy, and as such, it developed a sense of humor. So the ship had no seats in it at all, and it only had a refrigerator filled with milk and a cabinet filled with beans, and that was it.
So why does that remind you of Gray's interfacing with their technology to make it work?
You said, put your hands on things, and the humans, when they'd come aboard, wouldn't know what they were looking at. We were looking for things to flip and stuff like that. Well, that's how the scientists were when they came aboard this ship. Was they were trying to figure out where the controls were, and there weren't.
Show me where the corn goes.
Exactly. Show me where the corn goes. Cooper, I just wanted to say I feel your pain, dude. I actually had to get on the horn with my college as well last week because they double charged me. So I feel your pain, dude. I hope it all works out. Acid trip. Oh, right. Time for my intro. The future muscle wizard that cast a shadow upon the forces of evil. The monochrome magician who walks alone to protect the weak and pay all the anime merch he can.
You need to keep a collection of all these.
Yes. Mad Ginger, Thunder Kronks, ho!
Does your sword grow longer when you say that?
I don't want to know what his sight beyond sight is. Ghost of Limestad. Hey, alien, why do you probe? For research or just for kicks?
We don't really do that much. I mean, it was like Whitley Strieber just had a thing. He kept asking us. I mean, you talk to most abductees. We don't stick shit up people's butts. It was like, Whitley was like, are you going to stick that in my butt next? It's like, well, no, actually, we were actually going to probe it through your brain. We'd enter the nasal cavity, and we were going to actually interface with it. No, stick it in my butt. Stick it in my... So finally, we just said, fuck it, and we let Walter do it to him.
Owen, wow, talk about inclusive. I'll see myself out.
What?
That's what he says. I don't know what he's talking about.
What did we do?
I don't know. Hey, Owen, if you're still there, what did we do? Maybe it was something we were talking about.
Okay.
I think it was something we were talking about.
I don't know. I have no idea what I upset him about. We didn't say anything bad about Guyver.
No, our Lord and Savior? No.
Oh, wait, was he pissed about the Black Lives Matter question? I just said, which ones?
Hey, Owen, what was that in reference to?
I mean, generally that would be my answer for any life. Do all lives matter? Well, I don't know. Which ones?
Some lives are
more important than others. I
Yes.
mean, Ghislaine Maxwell, her life doesn't really matter much. Ted Bundy.
Well, it doesn't. It's
Matter-
very
well-
it's very important right now. But once we've cracked open her brain and leaked all its secrets, no.
It's like, again, you asked me, do white lives matter? Well, I don't know. David Berkowitz, I don't think his life mattered much.
No. Human life matters, but certain people are assholes. How about that?
I don't know. I think you kind of need to earn respect.
You do need to earn respect. But, higher thinking beings, like in Star Trek, believe that...
oh, well, no, you can argue that life itself
Yeah.
is inherently valuable.
Yes, life itself is valuable. It's
But,
just some individuals are not worth, the shit you scrape off your boot,
Well, yeah, I mean, initially, I suppose at the start point that life has value, but as they make their choices in life, I don't know. I would safely say I think most pedophiles' lives don't matter.
Most?
Yeah.
Why not all?
Well, if they don't act on it, I have a
Okay.
great deal of respect for anyone who has that kind of damage, but is able to not do anything.
I agree with you. Like,
I mean, that's got to be a living hell.
What's his name from The Who?
Oh, Pete Townsend.
Yeah, no, I actually feel really bad for him.
Well, he knows. You know why he didn't act upon it, Pete Townsend of The Who?
Because he has a soul.
Yeah, because he has a soul, and because he went through that, and he knew the pain it caused him, he would never do it to anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, so anyway.
Acid trip. Tall grays breaking into your home and banging you. Sounds like a type of monster girl type thing.
I bet that manga exists.
I'm sure it does.
Okay.
I mean, come on, the succubus girls.
Oh, that's just normal. Everybody likes that.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't? What's the character from Darkstalkers?
Oh, Morgan?
Yeah, who doesn't want to bang Morgan?
Morgan's good. I wouldn't want to bang Lilith, though.
Okay.
No, from Darkstalkers?
I'm not up to date on that. I just know that one of them looks hot.
The hot one is Morgan. Lilith is the one that it looks like jailbait. So, anyway. Cesario. So, reptoids are space vampires.
You could put it that way, yes. In fact, it's long been theorized that's where your vampire legends came from. But as we discovered on last week's show, Kat says otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there might just be a variety of beings who like blood.
Well, there is that too. I mean, just because a being drinks blood, that doesn't make them a vampire. I mean, look how many creatures out there eat meat, that doesn't make them like, a lion or anything. It doesn't make them a gator. Dominic Powell, what are your thoughts on the ancient astronauts hypothesis? How much validity does it have objectively?
Okay, I've answered this before. I'm going to make it very, very clear. It's thoroughly insulting to imply that humans didn't build Stonehenge or the pyramids or any, or the pyramids in South America. You take your pick. Aliens did not create those. You guys built those. With a few of them, yeah, it's true. Like Imhotep was a tall white, and he, very tanned one, but he showed up and he helped out, but really you humans did these things. We just kind of stood by the side and said, okay, well, what if you did it this way? Yeah.
I thought Imhotep was human, but he studied under a tall white.
No, maybe that's what it is. I don't remember.
Well, considering how many times he screwed up.
Yeah.
I mean, would a tall white screw up that many times? Well, there is Walter.
But think of it this way. When your dad teaches you to ride a bike, who's riding the bike? You or your dad? It's the same thing. We didn't build the damn pyramids.
Matt Ginger, set the pedos alight.
I'm sorry I keep going back to the pedo thing, but I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty punchy about the whole Tom Hanks thing.
Some of our listeners might not know what you're talking about.
Maybe I shouldn't even say.
I'll leave that up to you. Should
If they ask, I'll say.
Okay, Artificer Joni. Was L. Ron Hubbard a spy for the alien faction?
No. L. Ron Hubbard was a wannabe. L. Ron Hubbard was a con man and a wannabe, and he was hanging out with Jack Parsons of JPL, and I forget the other guy, and they had their own little Kabbalistic mystic club where they were going to summon up, I believe, some sort of incubus or succubus type sex creature.
This besides the Masons that also rejected him?
Yeah, the Masons, well, I was going to get to that.
Okay.
But anyway, L. Ron Hubbard banged Jack Parsons' wife, and that was it. They weren't going to have anything to do with him anymore. They booted him out.
Yeah, that will kind of put a damper on your membership.
And L. Ron wanted into the Masons group that all the sci-fi writers belonged to well. And they said, no, take a hike, asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept trying to get in with various groups, and they wouldn't. So he finally said, well, screw you, I'll make my own.
And thus Scientology was born.
Yes. Hey, Comix Division, what's up?
We get those commercials with books being flung out of volcanoes.
Exactly.
Acid trip. Is Ishi outside the human suit small enough to fit in Cat's bag, or to be put in one of the one of those baby
carriers? I think.
Baby carriers. I don't have a purse.
I refuse to comment.
I don't have a purse. I have a saddle holster that is clamped to my thigh. So no, he doesn't fit in that. Doesn't fit in other things either. But anyway. Owen, think of it this way, Ishi. At least you don't have permanent blue balls like your blue-colored aliens.
Good point. Very good point.
Cesario, is spontaneous human combustion a borked alien experiment gone awry?
I don't know if I should give a bizarre answer or the truth, because I actually know the answer to this one.
Well, I do too, but...
it's a condition of fat people wearing flammable clothing.
And smoking.
And smoking is what it is. In truth, people that were really, really fat, and I guess in the 70s especially, there was a lot of polyester and petroleum-based clothing that was very flammable.
A lot of it.
As well as, I guess, upholstery.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd be smoking, and they'd light themselves up, and their fat would burn like a wick.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was.
Well, no. Their fat wouldn't burn like a wick.
The clothes would burn like a wick.
Yeah.
The fat would burn like what, tallow?
Like a candle. Yeah, well, it is tallow. But yeah, usually what it was the person was asleep, and they fell asleep while they were smoking. And it would set their clothes on fire. The smoke inhalation would instantly cause them to be rendered unconscious if they weren't already, and usually suffocated them. And then, their clothes would be the wick, and their fat would be the tallow, and they'd smolder away to nothing. It's pretty cool, actually. I love the picture of like just this pile of ash and a random foot. Because there's no fat on the foot, or at least that person's foot. Endless Nocturne. Do Greys make any movies, TV, or anime? If so, is your version of Hollywood filled with communists too?
We kind of suck at that kind of stuff. It's one of the reasons we came here.
Yeah, we had Grindhouse.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like what it was is you have to have centuries and centuries of war with an alien cartel. You start losing sight of things. Like I said, we also made the horrible mistake of eliminating the gay gene, and that just fucked up parties and music and all sorts of things.
Yeah, mistakes were made.
Yeah, I mean, there were lots of mistakes made when we started playing with our genes. Women don't have breasts or sex drives. We got rid of gays, which means we don't have techno music or...
God, so basically, if
look, we're here trying to correct damage.
No, if your people were in RPG game and you're given a chunk of points to distribute amongst a whole mess of attributes, your people were the kind that just said, no, I'm putting it all in intelligence. It's like, well, don't you want, strength or dex? Or like, no, intelligence.
It all went into like,
I want to use tools, all in intelligence.
All into intellect And psychic ability, yes. It was a horrible mistake, but it did make us immune to any more infiltration by reptilians. But yeah, we realized after a while, sure, we became something they couldn't conquer anymore, but we lost something. And so now we're here trying to correct that error with a species that has some of our DNA in it, and we're trying to recover what we had lost.
Let's face it, you all saw scanners and said, we want to be like that.
We do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Super anime gamer. I was watching the news with my family tonight, and while viewing, a question popped into my head. Are all rich humans secretly alien lizard people like I think?
Not all of them, just a lot of them.
But I don't think the majority of them are. It's just they're assholes.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame, Mark Zuckerberg's not a lizard. We don't know what he is. Nobody knows.
I love that answer. You don't know. Well, isn't it theorized that he's a robot?
I mean, okay, yeah, Hillary's a lizard, but Bill isn't.
No.
You were asking, yeah, see, Yeah, what can I say? But yeah, there are plenty who aren't. It's just that more and more of them would be. And yeah, that's kind of why you have to nuke Pedo Island.
Well, yeah. Or terraform it.
Okay, let's see.
Hitman Wanderer. Is Event Horizon based on a true story? Oh, that's a good one.
I don't want to think about that. That's one of the few movies that scare me. It's one of my favorite films. It's one of the few that'll actually scare me.
Well, how close is it to, space folding? I mean, like, is there the possibility that a ship could drop into a hell dimension and come back possessed?
Sure, absolutely.
How likely is that?
You need navigators for a reason.
Okay, so your people have navigators to make sure you don't drop into a Clive Barker fantasy.
You could end up in the Clive Barker dimension or the the Cronenberg dimension.
Ugh, I wouldn't want to be in the
But just as likely you might show up in a really boring one where Berenstein Bears is spelt differently. Where that's it. That's the only difference.
That's a good answer.
Okay, let's see.
Owen, will there be an alien show on where wolves and possibly a certain bio booster armor be a subject worth discussing along with Kronos?
Sure, we can do that. Absolutely.
Cesario, so Walter is responsible for xenosexuals.
Sure, why not?
Are those the people that buy the dildos that look like the xenomorph?
Yeah, I've got to wonder about that. There's an entire product line now, apparently.
A product line? I only knew about the dildo.
Of sex toys made to look like the junk of various aliens, including the ones from Avatar.
Really?
I shit you not.
The Navi?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Acid trip. Does that mean Walter will do anything for a buck? I mean, I know a few friends who would pay top dollar for premium anal.
If you can find him in Mexico, sure. I'm sure you could bribe him for a buck.
No. We last heard that he's in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And he shaved himself.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, we were talking about Walter, the big fuck up on board the ship that we got rid of years ago. And what it was that Walter was not well to begin with. He was a bit of he came out of the cloning tank wrong, I think. And he kept getting he
was the derpy of your group.
Yes. He got ever increasingly interested in Earth coyotes for some reason. And then started claiming that he had an Earth coyote soul and that he wasn't really a gray, that, he was actually an otherkin.
Mm-hmm.
And
Other kid.
and when you've got genetic engineering technology like we do, that can be a very bad thing because you can start adding hair and various alterations, and as eventually you get a derpy alien's idea of what a coyote being looks like, a coyote furry. And Walter did that to himself, and he had fur, and he was constantly talking about being a coyote. And we were returning an abductee back to their home in Mexico, and it was out in the middle of nowhere, and we're carrying her back. Actually, we were levitating her back, and Walter's running around. Hey, I'm a coyote! I'm a coyote! Oh! And he's barking at the moon, and he's rolling around. He's having a great time, and we all just kind of looked at each other, and we don't have to take him back with us. We can leave him here. So we did. And the next thing we know, he's feeding on chickens and goats and drinking their blood. And they're calling him the goat sucker. That's Walter.
Well, now he's in New Orleans. So, Endless Nocturne. Oh.
I'm sorry.
Do the Greys have evidence that will lead to the prosecution of HRC? And is Zeta Reticulum about to get kryptonid?
Oh, well, okay. From what I understand, the evidence on HRC is all over the place, really, and it's readily available if you want it. It's just no one wants to believe it's real. And interestingly enough, if anything in that Shadowgate documentary is true, yeah, the information's readily available. Countless people have it, but it was that poorly secured. So I don't know. As for is Zeta Reticulum about to get kryptoned, first up, Zeta Reticulum, the planet it's the constellation, but it's around binary star. That was a complete misunderstanding by the Hills. Barney and Betty, it was totally wrong. We don't have a planet there. I don't know why she assumed that map. No, you can even read up on that map she drew. It's completely wrong. Our planet Serpo is about, I don't know, 300 light years from here or something. It's completely in a different location. Okay.
Acid Trip. Speaking of succubus, I have a question for Kat. I'm worried my friend will get bored and do something dumb like summon a succubus. How do I get rid of the demon without burning his house down? How do you get rid of the succubus?
That's not my job. Yeah, you answer that.
Well, here's the first question. Does your friend want to get rid of her? Yeah, you gotta want to get rid of it first.
Yeah, there's some upsides to it.
And what's really the downside? I mean, as far as I know, the only downside to a succubus is that you don't really get a good night's rest and your sheets are wet.
You don't let me have a good night's rest.
No.
You're not a succubus.
No. So, yeah. And then and the next question is your friend religious? Anyway, Acid Trip. Kat, as a wizard who has shot many a bandit with a fireball, I can say that eventually the human candle thing stops looking cool. Now, freezing them and breaking them like glass, that's classic. I totally agree. I will tell you, Acid Trip, though, I'm an old school girl. I always go for my magic missile. David Jack, if Kat had superpowers, Kat would be one of the people who'd be using those powers for good due to her morals. Same goes for Ishi with his morals. Aw,
well,
thank you, David.
What would your superpowers be, though, aside from the ones you already have?
Editing.
Well, then you already have that.
Yeah, but I'd intensify it so that I can edit reality.
Oh, so you want to go full goddess?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, always.
That's an ambition to have.
And beyond.
Are we looking for an actual cat cult? Is that what you're looking for?
Well, no. See, I'm not one of those deities that needs to have people believe in me or, stroke my ego. I don't need that. That's so last, millennium. No. No, it's merely the fact that I know that I'm that badass and that I can manipulate the world.
So what would you be the goddess of? Editing? So you heard it here first, guys. This is news to me. Cat apparently aspires to godhood eventually.
Well, yeah.
Explains a lot.
I'm going to take that as the compliment I believe it was meant to be. Anyway, that mad ginger nuke Pedo Island from orbit. It's the only way to make sure. Yes, but then they'll scatter like ants from the anthill. Cesario. So Ishi went to Bad Dragon Dildos? Now I'm typecast as the xenosexual freak of the group.
Is that a bad thing?
David Jack. So Greys have other kin idiots too? I feel sorry for your people.
Not as common, but yeah, I mean, we keep up this air of being kind of higher beings with great perfection, but we've fucked up quite a bit.
Well, just picture it as like, one of those people who something snaps in their brain and they go native, only this is way pathetic. David Jack. So Walter was the reason for the Chupacabra legend? So did Walter cause other urban legends? Well, again, there's one in New Orleans. At this very moment in time, my brain has farted, and I don't remember what the creature is called, but you can go back to last week's episode where we talk about vampires, and I mention it. And, that one, you read the description, and I'm like, holy shit, that's Walter. Cesario, Alien Nation, movie and TV series. Your thoughts?
The movie had a lot of promise, but it didn't have the budget it needed, and there were a lot of hiccups. It clearly was meant to look a bit more futuristic than it was, and I believe there being some serious script problems with it, and that somewhere along the line, James Caan got really unhappy with it. So he stopped cooperating, from what I understand. The TV show, on the other hand, was excellent. I remember what it was. The Alien Nation movie was originally imagined as a comedy.
Oh.
And then somewhere along the line, they decided to make it serious. Down to the fact that originally George Francisco's name was George Jefferson. Not George Jefferson, George Jetson.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And they were all named after silly characters. But anyway, the TV show was excellent and way underrated. I was really disappointed that Fox canceled it when they did. Although, what are my other thoughts on it? Really, looking back as an adult, at the time, I just took it on the surface level. But in retrospect, seeing how it was portrayed, it was kind of an allegory almost for the Holocaust survivors who came to the U.S. after the war in a lot of ways, which I thought was really interesting. But regardless, yeah, I wish that show had been given the 5 or 6 seasons it deserved rather than just one. And the TV movies they're okay. Although one of the people who was involved in making Alien Nation went on to make one of my all-time favorite sci-fi shows, Farscape.
Mm-hmm.
So, happy ending there. Let's see. All right.
Acid Trip to Dominic Powell. Icy. I can safely say it's way more fun than getting your GED, but it takes a lot of work. Endless Nocturne. When Kat ascends to goddesshood, I bet her first order of business is throwing the new warriors into a binary star. No, my first order of business is to exact revenge on Mags for everything she's done to reality.
Or just what she did to our channel.
That too.
Seriously,
Well,
I'm not kidding, guys.
I'm trying not to be petty.
That's why the Adventures in Awful episodes were removed.
It's because of Mags.
So would you hurl Mags into a binary star?
That's too easy.
How about a neutron star?
No, I'm going to edit her work.
You know, I think you're onto something there. You know, you could actually do a show in it, in doing that, where it's called Adventures in Awful.
Yes, but I'll make her watch. I'll tape her to a chair.
All right.
And make her, force her to see how much better it is when she's not involved in her work. Acid trip. Also cat. It's a demon that lives as humans like Italians in bread. What would I let that thing drain my friend of his life force? Plus, what if they get married? Do you want more demon babies? Well, succubi don't marry. So they don't marry and they can't have babies. So no worries. Dominic Powell, when's the next writer's room?
You know, we need to bring that back. And I believe that William and Buddy probably are in a better place now to do that.
Mm-hmm.
John's down for it. John is absolutely down for it. So I'd like to make that, start getting that going again. Although we're thinking about moving it to Tuesdays so that we don't clash with Professor Geek's show, which was kind of the one problem with it, is we were clashing with Professor Geek, which I didn't really want to do.
No.
Since that's where the show started.
Yeah.
And then maybe it might mean that he can actually come on. So.
David Jack, if Antifa and BLM had powers from injected alien DNA, that would be the apocalypse that's basically The Boys meets Mad Max.
Or it might be a comedy.
I think it'd be a comedy. I'd be worried if they were actually well organized and smart. Cesario, speaking of astronauts, the lost cosmonauts theory, are they real or just fluff?
Okay, the one that the poor woman who fell through the atmosphere and burned up, just so that the Russians could essentially take notes on it and learn about it. That's real. That is totally real. And if you ever hear that recording, it is one of the most haunting things you will ever come across.
Every time I think about it, honestly, it instantly makes me depressed.
And I don't know if you're talking about the cosmonauts who got torched in the various launches where the Russians weren't being careful. The worst of which being when they decided not to use sound dampening in a launch.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, so for all of you who have ever seen like the shuttle launch or the old images of the Apollo rockets launching, you ever notice that right at the bottom of the launch pad, you see all these, you see waterfalls, these water is pouring out of the edges, right? And that's not really there for cooling because H2O doesn't provide the cooling you need. They use other things for that. I mean, it helps, but that's not why it's there. That water is specifically there for the specific point of dampening sound. It absorbs sound waves and keeps it from vibrating outward through the ground and through the air. And there was a launch in which the Russians were really in a hurry to get a rocket up, and so they skipped that. They decided not to do that. And apparently it was the worst disaster in their space program's history, and they tried to bury it. Apparently, I think like miles away, people had their internal organs collapsed from the vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the rocket itself vibrated itself to pieces.
Comix Division, throw Mags into a non-binary star.
I love that. There you go.
That's what I'll do when I'm done editing her books. Dominic Powell, we need hope and optimism more than ever because nobody wants to be constantly down in the dumps. Oh, that is so true there, sir.
I think there's a lot of reason to be optimistic, by the way. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're in for some rough times. We are definitely in for some rough times. That's unavoidable, but nothing good ever came easy, right?
JW, what exactly is the great filter for interstellar civilizations? Have you passed it?
Oh, us? The Greys? Absolutely. We've been around for a lot longer than you, before you guys were around. We're interstellar. Our biggest problem is reptilians preying upon us. So that's our main issue at this point. That and our own mistakes. What is the great filter? Well, there are a number of things that are the great filter, but I honestly would have to say I think the great filter is overplayed. That I believe it has less to do with various things wiping out civilizations and the fact that really there aren't the number of intelligent civilizations out there aren't nearly as many as we'd hoped. That most species don't get beyond a place that would allow for space travel or contact. Keep in mind that pretty much most aquatic species, even if they gain intelligence, they don't really ever leave their planet. Getting off the planet's far harder for them. Furthermore, they don't. Okay, to leave your planet, to go into space, okay, you have to have a concept of up. You have to have a concept of someplace beyond your planet. And with the aquatic beings, the big problem is that until they figure out something's beyond the ocean, the up is out of the ocean. That's their sky. And it's not very conducive. Also, keep in mind that there are colony insects, like you guys haven't figured it out yet, but ants are really intelligent. It's their one mind, so watch out. Not exactly something that you can just launch into space. But yeah, the biggest obstacle is species that would actually even have the notion of moving beyond into the outer atmosphere and beyond. If you don't ever actually have that concept enter your psychology, you're not going anywhere. Or what if you have limitations? Like, let's say you're a giant slime mold that's covering half a continent and you've got an advanced neural net. How do you leave that planet? You don't.
Cesario, Mags got wrecked by William Shatner on Twitter, by the way. Oh, awesome.
I need to find that.
Yeah, that sounds epic. Kana, what the Greys did on Earth, did they do that to other planets and other species? So, if so, do we have any chance of meeting our star brothers and sisters?
We could only assume yes, and we haven't located them yet. We've tried that a few times. There's a huge gap in our history, okay? Look, a long time ago, we looked a lot more like you guys did. We were still bald, though. And we have
You didn't invent Murray's wigs?
No. We have no idea why our ancestors came to your world and started sticking our DNA into your DNA. I have no idea. There was a dark period and then a series of wars, and there were a couple of planetary cataclysms. So really all that's lost. I mean, finally, after we got over all those damn wars with the reptoids, we found a signal from the Black Knight satellite and said, holy shit, we claim to this planet. What the hell's going on? And we go over there and we find you guys, and it's like, oh, holy shit. And then we start looking and say, we realize that our ancestors had spliced our DNA with you guys. And we're like, we can correct our errors with the DNA these guys have.
So Arthur C. Clarke had it partially right then.
Well, yeah, we're trying to evolve you up so that we can splice our DNA and fix the damage we did. And yeah, it'll benefit you in the long run.
Mm.
Okay.
Cesario, I was referring to the alleged discovery of cosmonaut bodies on the moon by an Apollo mission, Apollo 17, covered by the YouTube channel Bedtime Stories. I had heard about the lost cosmonauts too.
I forget the name of the movie. Was it Apollo 17, I believe? Was a very cool play on that conspiracy theory. And while I wouldn't say it's an incredibly great movie, it's a good, entertaining one, and one of the few found footage films I enjoyed.
Actually, I thought they named it after the same They Might Be Giants album, Apollo 18.
Really? Let me check.
Yeah.
I might be getting the... Was it Apollo 18? Oh, okay, it was Apollo 18. Yeah, that wasn't... that was actually a decent film. I mean, it plays like an Outer Limits episode.
Cool.
But it's one of the few sci-fi found footage films that I felt really worked and was it's worth a watch. It really is. On the other hand, do I believe? No, they didn't get here. They didn't get there. It didn't happen. That was pretty much Russian propaganda because they were pissed that they didn't get to the moon.
It wasn't for lack of trying. Owen, was Zordon from Power Rangers a gray or based off one?
I think Zordon was just playing a cruel joke on those kids.
Well, I got the impression that that he done fucked up on whatever planet he was from and he was banished to Earth. I mean, if you think about it, that tube he was in is a prison.
I don't know much about Power Rangers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is where our age difference kicks in.
That's okay.
I was just slightly too old for Power Rangers, so I have no idea.
But you know what Ivan Ooze is?
Yeah, you showed me that. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
He was selling parents cum.
Yes. And he invited them to play with it. Cesario. 1 second. Are there any dumb alien races akin to Jar Jar Binks?
See, when you get evolved enough that you can start making really extreme moral decisions, you suddenly realize that occasionally genocide is warranted.
I could comment, but I'm not. David Jack. Was Jack the Ripper a reptilian? It would explain why he was so sneaky. He wasn't sneaky.
Answer that. You're kind of, that's your thing.
Jack the Ripper was human. He wasn't sneaky. He was a nobleman. He was of noble birth. He was some rich guy's son, and they were scared shitless by his actions, but that's why he was never caught. He was a rich boy with status.
Really?
And there's a lot of evidence to support the fact that he was. In fact, I believe if he wasn't some earl's son, he might have been a member of the royal family.
Okay, let's see.
Cooper Clark. Is it true that concentrated dark matter is the most efficient fuel for interstellar space travel?
Well, there's still the issue of harvesting something with that insane level of gravity. Really, U-32, I believe is. Let me get it right here. I want to make sure I'm not saying it incorrectly. It's U-30. U-30 is actually more than enough if you can figure out how to make it and maintain it. You guys made it in Russia, but it only lasted for a few seconds, I believe. But once you figure out how to make U-32 as an isotope, and
you mean U-30?
U-30, yeah. But as soon as you make U-30 and keep it stable, yeah, you'll be surprised what you guys can do. Okay, let's see. Should we call it a night?
That's a little over an hour. Hey, I'll remember to like this video and purchase Scars on Amazon Kindle. Thank you, Mad Ginger.
Absolutely. And hey, Ginger, do you know if that Sasquatch is in town again? Because we need to bring him on.
Yeah.
Ginger's the one that introduced us. All right. Well, okay.
Kana, clearly your ancestors had some big, hot, throbbing DNA, and they needed to experiment with other supple, inexperienced DNA. Cesario, wait, wasn't there a Babylon 5 episode that made Jack the Ripper an alien being or kept alive by alien technology? I'm going to be honest, Jack the Ripper has been in every TV show and movie about as much as Dracula has.
Well, he was an alien energy in Star Trek, the original series, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And it fed on fear, so they had to get the entire crew high.
And he was a vampire in Forever Night.
That works. That actually works.
It works, but the way they did it was stupid.
I think it's Alan Moore.
There you go. Yeah, Alan Moore.
I think it's really just Alan Moore. All right. Let's call it a night. Good hanging out with you guys.
Doctor Who did it too.
Let's see. Hopefully, in the coming weeks, we can do our Boggy Creek episode, our Parallel Dimensions episode, and we need to get Bigfoot on.
We definitely
and ask
need
him
to
if
get
Bigfoots are
on.
gay. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions, send them to me at Ishi Gray on Twitter.
Thank you, everyone.